Hi, and welcome to today's webinar from Mosaic Foster Care. It's all about fostering finances uncovered, what you really need to know. My name is Lauren and I'm the Fostering Recruitment Manager here at Mosaic Foster Care. So with myself and my colleague Debbie, we're able to answer any questions that you may have and just take you through a presentation. There will be a chance at the end to say hello to us, ask any questions, and Debbie is also the person who will come out visit you. I'm just going to swing my camera around so people can see who Debbie is, and she'll be the person, I say, that comes round to do the home visit, just to chat a bit further with you about your application. So today we're going to talk about something that people often feel a bit awkward about, which is the money. That's completely understandable. Fostering is about children, about care, about making a difference, but it's also a professional commitment. And for many families, it replaces a job. So it's important to understand how it actually works financially. Today isn't about selling anything, it's just about giving you a clear picture how fostering pay is structured, what's included, what to watch out for, and what questions you should be asking any agency, including us. And like I say, if you've got any questions, pop them in the chat box and we'll come back to them at the end. So now we're going to move on to the big question that people have. Will I be financially secure? What happens between placements? And how does fostering pay actually work? Is it sustainable long term? And these are the questions we hear all the time. People might not always ask them straight away, but they're thinking them. If I give up my job, will I be financially secure? What happens if a placement ends unexpectedly? Is the weekly figure I've seen actually what I'll receive? Is fostering something I could realistically rely on for years? And these are sensible, responsible questions. You're thinking about your household, your bills, your mortgage, your children. So let's go through it properly. How the fostering pay is structured. Fostering income usually has two parts: the allowance that covers the child's costs and the fee, which is the professional payment for you. And at Mosaic, these are combined into one weekly payment. Across the UK, fostering pay is usually made up of two payments, as I just said. The first payment, which is the allowance, well, that's there to cover the child's everyday costs: food, clothes, school items, travel and activities. The second part is the fee, and that's the professional payment that recognises the time, responsibility and skill involved in fostering. Some agencies show these separately, some bundle them together. At Mosaic, we combine them into one weekly payment, so it's simple and clear. Why is it hard to compare agencies? Well, the government sets a minimum allowance, fees vary widely, support packages differ, and not all headline figures actually include the same things. So this is where it gets a little bit confusing. The government sets a minimum allowance, but there's no national standard for foster carer fees. So agencies and local authorities set their own rates. You might see one agency advertising a higher weekly figure, but that might not include therapy, training or additional support. Another might advertise a slightly lower figure, but include everything. So when you compare, it's not always straightforward. You have to look at what's included, not just the number. So Mosaic's weekly payments: £600 per week minimum, £700 per week after completing TSD training. I'll go into that more in a moment. And the full fee is paid for each additional child where appropriate. Sorry, hard one to get out that sentence. At Mosaic, the weekly payment starts at £600. And once you complete your training, support and development standards workbook, the TSD, which most carers do quite early on, that increases to £700 or more per week. That uplift is ongoing, not a one-off. If in the future it's appropriate and agreed that you care for more than one child, you receive a full fee for each child. We're very open about that structure, so there are no surprises. Now we move on to long-term fostering and income stability. Short-term fostering can mean frequent placement changes, income gaps between placements. Long-term fostering provides stable placements, predictable income and easier financial planning. This is one of the biggest financial differences in fostering. Short-term fostering can mean a child is with you for weeks or months. When they leave, there may be a gap before the next placement, and that can create income uncertainty. Because Mosaic focuses on long-term placements, children typically stay for years, not months. That gives you more predictable income and makes financial planning much easier. Stable benefits don't just benefit the child, they benefit you too. But what if a placement ends? Mosaic provides a £250 per week retainer for up to 4 to 6 weeks, and it applies if the placement has lasted 6 months or more. And placements can end. Sometimes it's planned, sometimes it isn't. When that happens, we don't leave carers without support. We pay a £250 per week retainer for up to 4 to 6 weeks, provided the child has been with you for at least 6 months. And this gives breathing space. It means you're not suddenly under pressure to accept the next referral just to secure income. It allows us to focus on getting the next match right. Placement stability. So Mosaic in 2024, in regards to our stability, 92% had one placement during the year. No percent had 3+ placements. The national average stability is 69%. And these figures are important. Last year, 92% of Mosaic placements remained stable throughout the year, and nationally that figure is around 69%. That means fewer disruptions for the children and fewer income gaps for foster parents. Stability isn't just an idea, it directly impacts financial security. Now we go on to tax and the qualifying care relief. Most fostering income is tax-free under QCR, qualifying care relief. £10,000 annual allowance plus weekly allowances per child, and many carers pay little or no tax. This is something most people don't realise. Under qualifying care relief, fostering income is largely tax-free. There's a £10,000 annual allowance plus additional weekly allowances per child. And for many foster parents, this means they pay little or no income tax on their fostering income. You can register as self-employed and complete a tax return, but the system is designed to recognise that this isn't standard employment. Now we're going to move on to supportive foster care, which is sometimes also known as respite care. You get 3 weeks, up to 3 weeks per year, it's paid, and any unused respite up to 7 days is also paid. An emergency respite does not reduce your allowance. All foster carers need a break at times. At Mosaic, you receive up to 3 weeks of supportive foster care each year, and that's paid. And if you don't use all of it, you could receive up to 7 days payment in lieu. And if it's an emergency, whether it's illness or bereavement, that doesn't reduce your planned respite allowance. It's structured to support you, not penalise you. Additional financial support. There's a paid training uplift. Mileage is paid at 45 pence per mile, minus a small monthly deduction. Fully funded therapy and training, and no other hidden deductions. We also pay mileage at 45 pence per mile with a small flat monthly deduction rather than per journey limits. Training and therapy are fully funded. We don't deduct those costs from your weekly payment. And once you complete your TSD standards, your weekly pay increases permanently. There are no hidden deductions for accessing support. So benefits and other considerations. Fostering income usually not counted as earnings for universal credit. Council tax discounts may apply. Always check your own personal circumstances. In many situations, fostering income isn't treated as standard earned income for universal credit purposes, and council tax discounts can also apply. But every situation is different, so we always recommend checking your personal circumstances, but fostering is structured to be financially workable. So now, questions to ask any agency. As the slide shows, the main questions we get asked: what are your placement breakdown rates? Do you pay between placements? Is therapy included or deducted? Are payments 52 weeks a year? And what is your average placement length? And these are the questions you should ask any fostering agency you speak to. The answers to those questions will tell you more than any advert. So to summarise, at Mosaic you receive £600 to £700 per week, stable long-term placements, a £250 retainer between placements, paid respite and fully funded therapy and training. It's designed to be sustainable, not uncertain. So what are your next steps? You can speak to a Mosaic foster parent, and you can ask your questions and get the answers you deserve. So if you're thinking about fostering and still have questions, that's perfectly normal. And the next step is to simply speak to one of our foster parents or fostering advisor. No pressure, no obligation, just a straightforward conversation about what it's really like, including the finances. And from there, you can decide whether it feels right for you.
If you'd like clear, honest answers about foster parent pay, allowances and financial support, download our free guide to fostering finances using the link. And if you're ready to explore fostering further, get in touch with Mosaic Foster Care today. Thousands of children across the UK need a safe, stable home right now. As an Ofsted Outstanding Fostering Agency, we'll give you the training, the support and the therapeutic expertise you need to make a lasting difference in a child's life. Download the guide, start the conversation. It's time to make a difference.